Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Thoughts of the Young Icon with me, Sam. Today, I want to talk about business. You've met Sam, the family man, you've met Sam, the philosopher, you've met Sam, the thinker. But today, I want to introduce you to Sam, the businessman. So I share with you some of the principles of business that I myself use. I share with you some ideas. I try to correct the young people, especially you young people watching this video. I want you to understand what business is. And not only that, in today's video, I get to share with you how to make your first 1 million. I hope you watch this video. There's going to be a lot to take away from it. Enjoy. So today, I'd like to introduce you to Sam, the businessman. See, so far I've sort of introduced you to Sam the philosopher, Sam the idealist, Sam the Christian, but today I want to introduce you to Sam the businessman. Now, my life as a businessman should be in 2019 when I officially started to run my own businesses. But before that, I'd always engaged in some small scale businesses because I understood that in this life that we live in an economic world. Now, being an economic world, the way that you trade in an economic world is through money. Now, in order to make money, you need to be able to understand business. So business, how am I defining business? Well, business, in light to this video, is basically the idea of exchanging goods and services for money. So in my younger years, I have to admit, I came from a pretty good home. I never felt the need to actually engage in any type of business in order to make money. I did not need to make money because money was always available. However, when I started to grow older, I started to realize that even with my parents backing, even with my parents being able to support most of the things that I wanted, there was still a need for me to make money so that I had extra income. Like I remember in my bad boy days, there was no way that I could ask my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, I want some money so that I can go and buy some beers." Being from a very conservative Christian family, my dad was never going to entertain that. So I needed to find ways in which to make money. Now, the basic and easiest way to make money is basically trading. Now, how do you go about trading? Trading is the understanding of supply and demand. So when you're faced in a situation like where something is cheaper in one place than it is in another, and you notice that, and you calculate the transportation cost and the cost of taking it to the market and the cost of selling, and you're still making more money than where you bought it from, then that's a viable business. So that was the first type of business that I started to see. I started to see gaps. Let's say if I travel outside the country on a family vacation, instead of just spending all my money on some very nice experiences, buying some nice clothes, I would start to notice that, look, this thing here is cheaper. Let's say this phone or this camera is cheaper than the way it's sold back home. So on top of the things that I'd buy for myself for leisure, I would also make sure that I always pick up one or two things that I can resell and then make money. The next kind of way that you can make money is by providing a service. I work in the real estate business, so that is basically 100% service because there isn't a tangible product that we bring to the market. But what we do is we understand that there are property sellers and property buyers. And in between, there's a gap. There's someone who needs to link them. And that's where we come in. And sometimes there's property owners, landlords, and there's people looking for properties. And again, we identify the gap and then we realize that we can come in to bridge that gap. So you watching this video, just to introduce you to basic business principles, is make sure that whatever it is that you are indulging in or whatever it is that you want to undertake in, there is a profit. Because the moment there's no profit, then there's no business. And I'm speaking particularly to those in the third world, like here in Malawi. In Malawi, being a developing nation, opportunities are there and opportunities are plenty. One thing that I've learned is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to come up with the next big thing, especially here. Because here in Malawi, There's so many things that already exist outside of Malawi that don't exist here. And if you simply create or if you simply copy, edit, and paste, you are very likely to make money. Now, how did I start off in business? I started off in business not by choice. I lost my job, and so I needed to find a way of making money. And that's how I ended up starting off my company, Iconic Real Estate Agency. And what we then realized was that there was a gap and in the real estate sector. So I'm a real estate practitioner by training. I have my bachelor's in real estate, and then I have my licensing to practice legally in Malawi. If you'd like to know more about that, how you can become a legal practitioner in Malawi, drop me a comment, drop me a message. I'll gladly take you through that. But basically, what I learned by starting off in the business is you need to identify the niche market in which you're going to operate in any business, in any sector. There's so many things that you can do, and there's such a variety of ways in which you can do them. You, as an individual, you need to be able to identify your strengths, you need to identify your weaknesses, you need to identify your threats, and you need to basically a SWOT analysis. Yes, yes. You need to carry out a personal SWOT analysis. And by doing a SWOT analysis, that is going to enable you to find yourself in a business that is making money. Now, I want to emphasize that in Malawi, every business that you enter into should be making a profit within the first 3 months. If your business is not making a profit within the first 3 months here in Malawi, I want to tell you it's not viable. If you're a small scale and your business is not making a profit within the first 3 months, it's not viable. Leave it, come up with another idea. It's different if, let's say, it's a large scale business with a very high capital outlay, for argument's sake, real estate, or maybe you're opening a factory. Yeah, if you're doing something like that, perhaps there is more leeway. There's a bigger time frame through which you can work with. But every small scale business in Malawi, it makes money. I mean, I've done so many businesses. I've done trading of electronics. I've done trading of PPE. During COVID, my business partner and I, we realized that there was this gap. COVID was attacking everyone. And in our country, as with many countries in the world, we were ill prepared. And understanding the climate that we were faced with, we ordered face masks all the way from China. And then when they came in, it was right around the pandemic. We were able to sell them at a profit. So many other things that I've done at a profit. Sometimes it's literally just in a conversation with someone. Someone says something like, "Man, I'm looking for an iPhone." And I think to myself, look, I know a way to find an iPhone. And I ask them what their budget is. So they tell me, I want an iPhone 15. My budget is 5 million. And I know that I go to the US often. And when I buy it in the US, it's not going to cost anywhere close to 5 million. So when I do go to the US, I pick up that phone and then I sell it to them and I make a profit. So in order to be good at business, what you need to do is you need to have a keen ear. You need to be able to hear what the customers want. You need to understand what the customers want. And the most important thing, you need to understand the costs and then the price that you're going to sell it at. This is where a lot of people get it wrong. It's not just the purchase cost and it's not just the price that you sell it minus the purchase cost. No, 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 no. To truly be successful in business, you need to understand the cost of delivering the product to the customer. So if you have to call someone, if you need to travel somewhere, if you need to employ someone, if you need to engage other people, you need to factor in all these costs. And then when you factor in those costs, that is what's going to show you whether you're making a true profit or you're not. Because I've seen so many instances where I have friends of mine who are telling me, Sam, let's just buy some rice in Zomba. We'll sell it in Blantyre. In Zomba, rice is going for 2,000. In Blantyre, rice is going 2,000 per kg. In Blantyre, rice is going at 2,200 per kg. And they think it's a viable business. What they fail to understand is that for you to transport that bag of maize from Zomba or bag of rice rather, from Zomba to Blantyre. There's costs. For you to liaise with the supplier, there's costs. For you to liaise with the buyer, there's costs. For you to deliver the product to the end user, the consumer, there are costs. So when you're going into any business, you need to understand the costs, true costs, and then the true revenue. That way you get the true profit. And I can assure you, here in Malawi, being a developing nation, being a low developed nation, being a nation that many of the things that we're producing and many of the things that are sold in Malawi are imported. Anything that you can produce locally is very likely to make you a lot of money. And everything that is going to make you a lot of money, sometimes it's just simply understanding where to buy, where to sell, and then the in between. Now, to close it off, I want to share one of the secrets on how to make your first 1 million kwacha. If you are in Malawi and you're in business and you're a small operator, you want to scale, you want to make your first 1 million, this tip is for you. Making your first 1 million kwacha in Malawi is not very complicated. It starts with the business idea that you want to put out. There's two main ways in making a lot of money. So the first way is you have a product or a service that serves a lot of people, but it has a low cost. The second way, and the way that I recommend, especially here in Malawi, when you're starting off, is to have a bespoke product, a product that is specialized, that serves very few people, but people who are able to pay a lot of money. Why do I advocate for this? One thing I've realized is that a lot of youngsters in Malawi, a lot of youth, you guys are talented. Like, I'll give you that. You guys are talented. The only thing is you're using your talents and serving them to people who cannot pay you their worth. If you're a great photographer, you want to take pictures of your friends. Now, I'll give you an example of this idea of photography. If you're a great photographer and let's say you're 21 years old and you take pictures of 21-year-olds, how much money do you really think that they can pay you? Yeah, you're correct. Not that much. However, with that same camera, with those same skills, if you go into these corporate organizations and you ask them to take pictures for corporate events, that same skill, that same camera is going to move from making you, I don't know, 20,000 kwacha for 20 pictures or 20,000 kwacha an hour to potentially 500,000, 1 million an hour, or doing the exact same thing. So what I want you to take away from this video, my tip to you is, if you truly want to make your first 1 million kwacha, you make sure that you serve the clientele that have the ability to pay you large amounts of money. The fewer the clientele and the fewer the clientele with the ability to pay, then the more that they'll pay. I'll tell you a secret. Rich people have this weird propensity to want to pay more than other people for something that they can get for cheaper, just for the sake of saying that they paid more to this other guy. I remember when I was in my college days, to make extra income, I used to do fitness training with uh, uh, people at the gym. So I was already a member of the gym. I would already go to the gym to train at the gym. And I realized that there were some people who were going to the gym, and I was very fortunate that I was going to a high-end gym. And obviously that meant the people who were training at the gym were high-end. And that's actually where I learned this. And so I found some people at the gym who were coming to the gym, but clearly didn't know what they were doing. And initially, it would start off with me just training with them casually. And then they would ask me, Sam, can you come up with a fitness plan for me? Can you come up with a meal plan for me? And for me, that was second nature. I was such a gym enthusiast, a fitness enthusiast, that I knew how to do all of that. And I remember doing it for the first client, and I think I charged them something like 20,000 kwacha. And they asked me 20,000 kwacha only. Now, because it was my first client and I was a bit unsure about the service that I was providing, I said, yeah, 20,000, let's do this for 20,000, and then let's see how it goes. And they paid me the 20,000 kwacha. In fact, as we were walking out of the gym, when we are going to the car park, this guy called me to his car. He gave me the 20,000. Like, that's how easy it was for him to take out 20,000. With my next client, I realized that 20,000 kwacha was a little bit, so I charged 50. And to my surprise, again, this guy, he willingly gave out the 50,000 like it was nothing. And then again, what I then learned was that I can upcharge. So instead of doing a fitness and meal plan package at 50,000, I could do fitness plan at 50,000, meal plan at 50,000. So that's how I ended up being able to earn 100,000 on each client. But then what I realized was that by just doing a fitness plan and a meal plan, that's a once-off transaction. What about if I introduce a third level by giving a monthly charge for this same services, by giving the exact same fitness plans and meal plans, but then just tweaking them up from month to month? So this client, who initially, the first business I did, gave me 20,000 willingly, went to 50,000 again willingly, then 100,000 for the same exact service. I was able to then get a lot of people to be paying me a monthly rate of 50,000 for their meal plans and 50,000 for their fitness plans. And that's how ultimately I made my first 1 million. Well, that's outside of real estate. When I started my real estate business, again, I looked at the market, and I looked at the players that were involved in the market, and I realized that if I position myself, because I have a real estate qualification and because I have that advantage, if I position myself on the upper market, then my commissions, because they're percentage based, they're going to make more money than if I just throw myself at every single property. So in my business, I only do high end real estate. So if you have a property 100 million and above, you can come to our company and we can assist you with that. If you have a property which is 100 million and below, unless you're a very good friend, many times we say no to that, because what we realized is the same amount of effort that it takes to sell a property that's 100 million and above is the same amount of effort that it takes to sell a property that is 100 million and below. The only difference is the earnings, because they're percentage based. If I sell a 20 million kwacha property, my commission is 5%. If I sell a 500 million kwacha property, again, my commission is 5%. The only difference is 5% of 20 million is 100 grand. Or is it 100 grand? Yeah, I think it's 100 grand. But 5% of 500 million is 25 million, the exact same work. So I just want you to have that in mind. If you're looking to truly build wealth, I encourage you to find a business, to find a trade that speaks to, or whose customers are the high end. And that's the quickest way for you to rise. And then I'll tell you the other side of the coin. Once I did get enough clients in my real estate business whose properties we sold for those large amounts, I was able to employ people in my team, and people in my team are then able to take on the other markets. So by strategically starting, I was able to store up enough revenue that I'm able to build a team that enables me to take on the whole market anyways. So again, remember, the idea is to make a lot of money, but don't just make that money for nothing. Make that money so that you can empower more people. But I hope the advice that I've given you is going to enable you to very easily make your first 1 million within the next 6 months. I wish you all the very best. If you've watched this far, I'd like you to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to tell a friend about Thoughts of the Young Icon. Thank you.